It's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do. Might as well do this Q&A. Let's go.
DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. It is Friday, October 3rd, 2014. You'll be watching this video on Saturday, October 4th. This is the Q&A. For those of you who don't know how this Q&A works, I look at all the comments, which are the questions and comments from the previous week's video. So today, this video, I'm going to be answering all comments and questions from Q&A number 38, which was last week. This is Q&A 39. If you want me to answer your question or comment, you leave it in the comments to this video, and next week, you'll see me reply to whatever you had to say, as long as you don't say nothing fucking stupid. Now, before we get into the questions, a couple house cleaning things. The Work on Your Game merchandise shop is back open. That is woyg.net for workonyourgame.net. woyg.net. Get all your merchandise there. Hats, shirts. We got iPhone cases, laptop skins, all that stuff is available there. Also, if you go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/workonyourgame, you can also check out both the Work on Your Game merchandise store will be available there, and also all Hoop Handbook programs will be available through the Facebook page. So you don't even have to go to a different website. Just go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/workonyourgame. I think that about covers all the house cleaning issues. Let's get right into these questions. I think we got a lot of comments this week. Before I get into the comments, if you have a question or comment and I don't reply to it, or you don't even hear me read it, that's because for whatever reason it did not show up. If you don't have a Google Plus profile, I think the way comments work on YouTube now is that you got to be signed in to Google Plus when you leave a comment, or it's not going to show up when I look at the comments. So if you left one and I don't acknowledge it at all, it's probably because you weren't signed in somehow, some way, and it didn't show up in here when I read it. So it's not personal. I didn't just omit you for any particular reason. It's because I didn't fucking see the shit. So make sure you sign in to Google Plus or whatever you gotta do with YouTube. I know they got all these different steps now. I didn't make it that way. That's the way they made it. So if I don't read your comment, now you know why. So let's get right into it. Darren Lauren said he improved his weekend. Thanks a lot. Well, you're welcome, Darren. Glad to hear that. Hein Harden says, Dre, when I ball with my friends, we play sign out a lot. I have no idea what that means. He says, I had this problem of not thinking too fast when I'm in a situation. Is there anything for me to think faster? Best thing you can do, Hein Harding, is play more, develop your instincts. There's no like exercise that's gonna make you think faster in a real life situation. The only way you'll get better at the real life situation, that live situation, is to be in that situation and go through it, get better and get better. That's the only way you're gonna get quicker as far as your thinking goes. Ryan Comito says, did you name your position of power training program after the 50 Cent song? Yes, I absolutely did. Robert Young says, my question is, how do you know what moves to do in the game? For example, one-on-one in the game, how do I know my move is going to work? Well, first of all, you don't know if a move is going to work. And the second thing about moves is moves don't work, players work. So if you do the work on your game, then the moves will work, whatever you need to do when you get into a game situation. And the third part, your question is, how do you know what moves to do in the game? You don't know what moves to do in the game. I don't ever go into a game thinking, I'm going to do this move, then I'm going to do that move, and if this dude guards me, I'm going to do this move, and if he guards me, I'm going to do that move, and if the score is this, then I'm going to do this move, or if I'm on this part of the court, I'm going to do this move. That's not how basketball works. You have to be able to read and react in the moment. If you're not able to do that, then that means two things are missing from your skill set. Number one, you need to practice more and develop more skills so that you have something to call on. And number two, you need to play more so that you have those instincts that can react in the moment without you having to stop and think or know something's going to work or be questioning yourself in the heat of the moment. If you're doing any of those things, that means you're missing one of those two elements: working on your game and playing to develop experience. Eshwar Tengiraga says, how does Kyrie have no bounce and still have athletic ability to do ridiculous acrobatic layups? D Rose does it, but it makes sense because he's freakishly athletic. Well, Kyrie, I wouldn't say he has no bounce. I mean, the guy can dunk. And there are not many people who can dunk easily in the world if we was to pull everybody together. But doing athletic acrobatic layups is not about how high you jump. It's just about agility, and it's about touch with the ball. Kyrie Irving is a wizard with the ball. It is obvious that he practices a lot. He spends a lot of time handling the ball, not during the game. I mean, I'm talking about practicing on his own. That's how he has that touch with the ball. He's able to finish with his left hand, right hand, around the basket, reverse layups, going in between defenders and things like that. That's all touch. Those are things that come from practice. It has nothing to do with jumping high. If you was to look at somebody like Josh Smith or Rudy Gay, they both jump incredibly high, but you don't see them doing a whole lot of those movements the same as Derrick Rose does. Not even LeBron James. He jumps just as high as anybody, but you don't see him doing a bunch of acrobatic layups because he doesn't use, that's not part of his skill set. It's not something that he needs to do necessarily, but it's also just something he probably doesn't practice because he hasn't had the need to do it. Kyrie Irving's a smaller guy. He's not as built as a Derrick Rose. He's not as athletic as Derrick Rose, but he can finish because he has to work on those things, and those are the things that he felt like he needed to develop to further his game. So it's not about jumping high at all. It's all about touch and practice, which means the only excuse any of you have for not being able to finish around the basket with both hands and around defenders is that you have not put in the work yet. Kyrie Irving wasn't born doing those layups. He put the work in to become good enough to do it. Patrick says, I just started playing at age 20. I've gotten a lot of jammed fingers when I play almost every other game. Is there something wrong with the way I go up for rebounds, or are my fingers just weak? Do any other beginners have issues with jammed fingers, maybe just bad luck? Patrick, that's probably just bad luck, and I think you're thinking a little bit too much about getting jammed fingers. If you're worried about getting a jammed finger, you probably shouldn't play baseball or sports in general. I think it's just bad luck. Let it go, move on, go to the next game. I think in the long run, you'll be all right. And even if you do keep getting jammed fingers, I think you'll live. I mean, you were able to type this question, so your finger's not that bad, right? Shag Wolf says, Dre, when I go to the gym, is it better to shoot, dribble, then lift weights, or vice versa? Actually, I made a video about this already, Shag Wolf. It doesn't really matter. Try both ways and see which way works better for you. Mission for Fame says, Dre, I'm a sophomore in high school. I play ball from 6th grade to 10th grade. I just started to get my skills. I've been practicing by watching a bunch of videos on YouTube, he names, and he says, I work out 6 to 7 hours a day, but I still have some questions. First of all, before I even get to your questions, you do not work out 6 to 7 hours a day. Because if you did, first of all, you wouldn't physically be able to do that. If you're working at your anywhere close to your maximum capacity, let's say 75% or above of your capacity of energy and output, you wouldn't be able to sustain that for 6 to 7 hours a day. It's just not physically possible. And that has nothing to do with how hard you work or your mentality or anything. No human being can work out that hard for that long every single day. That's not possible. But if you say you do, let's just move on to your questions. What do you aim for when you shoot? You don't aim for anything when you shoot. You just shoot the ball. If you're aiming, then you're probably missing. That's probably why you're asking me this question. Number 2, can I do a video on layups and give tips and tricks in the Q&A video? There are no tricks. There are no tricks to basketball. You have to put in the work. If you want to get good at basketball, you got to put in the work. If it was as simple as learning some tricks or some secret sauce that was getting passed around, a whole lot of bum-ass players would have game. But guess what? Most players can't play because they haven't put in the work and they're looking for some type of shortcut. I'm not saying necessarily if that's you, Mission for Fame, but if you want to get good at finishing layups, same thing I just talked about with the Kyrie Irving question, you had to put in the work. He wasn't born making those layups. He put in the work. Derrick Rose put in the work, and name player ABC, whoever you like on TV, they put in the work to get good. There was no shortcut. You ask any one of them, first thing they're going to say is, I work hard, I put in the work to get good. Any player you meet that's good, that's the first answer they're going to give you as the reason for their success. And all you already know that. I'm not telling any of you anything new. So why does anybody think that they're going to break the mold and reinvent the wheel of how to get good or how to become successful? You must put in the work. There are no shortcuts. There are no secrets. There are no tricks. The only tip you need is to go work on your fucking game. I don't know how many times I got to say this. Third question. He says, what's the main workout in the jump manual? Mission for Fame asked a couple of questions. The main workout in the jump manual, there is no main workout. If there was a main workout, there'd be no need for a jump manual, then would it? The jump manual is a comprehensive program for explosion, athleticism, vertical jump being a part of explosion and athleticism. There is no one main workout, because if there was, then there'd be no need for the program. Next question, Michael Cedeno says, what do I think is my greatest strength and weakness in my game? Greatest strength is that I have no weakness. Next question, Tyahan Ward says, Dre, would you ever consider doing a how to dunk video, like something along the line of giving tips on takeoff and avoid getting hung in slow motion breakdown? Tyahan, yes, I would consider that. In fact, I considered it 4 years ago in 2010 when I made a video called How to Dunk a Basketball. I got over 4,000 vids here, so you probably just missed that one. I don't blame you since I have so much content, but if you was actually search my name up there, Dre Baldwin, and type in how to dunk, you'll see the video that I just referenced. There is no tips on avoid getting hung. All right, if you're getting hung, anybody here who dunks, and hung means in basketball slang, it means when you try to dunk and instead of the ball going in, the ball hits the rim and basically you get stuck. Yeah, it's your hand and the ball and the rim, and then the ball doesn't go in. They call that getting hung or getting stuck or getting rim blocked. We used to call it getting rim blocked. But anyway, if that's happening to you, there's only one problem. You ain't jumping high enough. You need to get your vertical up, which means you need to check out the jump manual at dreallday.com/jump so you can get your hops up so you stop getting hung. There is no way to avoid getting hung. It's like somebody asking me, how do you avoid missing jump shots? The way you avoid missing jump shots is to make jump shots, and you got to put in the work to get there. And there's nothing else I can tell you. Michael Cedeno says, have you ever posterized anyone? Of course. GM Conla says, Dre, were you one of the top high students academically through high school and college? Did you put in as much work in basketball to be where you are now? No, I wasn't one of the top students academically. I think I've written about this several times, both on my website and my book. On my website, dreallday.com, my book, which is called Buy a Game, which, as of note, is available in paperback, hard copies. For those of you who like to actually hold the book in your hand and not read digitally, I like to read digitally, but for those of you who like to hold the book in your hand, Buy a Game, Mirror Motivation, Mental Handbook, Super You, all available as physical copies now at the exact same link. So you got the digital ones on Amazon. That's dreallday.com/Amazon. You can get those books. It'll be on the exact same page, the digital option or physical option. So GM, that's the answer to your question. No, I was not one of the best academically in school. The Shadow Baller, and also you can read the posts that I wrote and the books that I wrote where I go into more detail. I'm not going to do it here. The Shadow Baller says, Dre, my jump shot and handles are really good, but whenever I try to drive into the lane, I get blocked or pushed out of the paint. Does this mean I need to be more explosive? And if so, how can I work on that? Well, one way you can work on it is to get the Ultimate Athlete and/or Position of Power programs at hoophandbook.com. You get the complete athletic package, which includes both of those, also a warm-up and the conditioning mini handbooks. Those are two things you can do. And the third thing you could do is probably practice more on your driving skills. Once you develop your body a little bit more through those programs, work on your driving skills. It's like building up a car. Once you build the engine that you want, you still got to take the car out on the road and drive it so that it's conditioned to do what you want it to do. You can't just do half of it. You can't be conditioned but have no body. You can't have a body without doing the conditioning. So you have to do a combination of both. So as you're improving your body with those programs, keep working on your game, keep working on the things, the areas where you're having trouble on the court. So then your body will grow into the ability to do the things you want it to do. Hopefully that makes sense to you. It's On says, this year I'm going to start on the varsity team. Thanks for the help and motivation. Well, congratulations and you're welcome. Jay Shilcutt says, is a Rajon Rondo signature workout program coming in the future? Yes, it is coming in the future. Kevin711 says, Dre, I already know you made a video about this, but I really need this answered. So I'm already confused. I've already made a video about it. Why are you still asking? But let's see what he has to say. He says, basketball tryouts for this year. I've been playing ball for 5 months. I'm a sophomore. He says, do I think he should give it should he wait till next year to try out and give it a shot so he has more time to get better? Well, what do you have to lose by trying out this year? If you try out and don't make it, then you're still in the exact same position if you tried out and if you was to sit out and not try out at all. So I don't see why you need to ask the question, should you wait another year to get better? What you waiting for? What exactly are you missing out on? If you was to try out this year and make the team, how is that going to be detrimental to you? That makes no sense. Abdul Azam says, thanks for answering my questions. Your videos are amazing. Abdul, you're welcome and thank you. My videos are amazing, I agree. C. Joy Dempsey says, what is my favorite move to beat my man? Whatever ends up with the ball going in the basket. I'm not partial to any particular move. Whatever I need to do in that particular situation to put the ball in the basket, because that's the object of offense. Ryan Lowe says, ass or tits? Don't say both, one or the other. Haha. Ass or boob guy? Haha. We're going to not answer that question. Bobby Bob says, Dre, what are your favorite shoes you have ever owned? I would have to go with basketball shoes. I'm going to have to go with the Nike Shox BB4s, aka the Vince Carters, and the original Hyper Dunks, 2008 Hyper Dunks. Aitor Alberto says, Dre, I'm going to the weight room a lot, 3 to 4 times a week. I noticed that I gained 6 or 7 pounds of muscle, and I can finish a lot better at the rim with contact. Do I think he should keep lifting and get more gains? Do I think it's going to make him heavier or slower? Since that's what my coach has been telling me, I want to know what you think. Well, Ator, you're the one who's added the 6 or 7 pounds of muscle. Do you feel heavier or slower, or do you feel faster, stronger, and more explosive? You have to see how your body is reacting and what your body is telling you. That way you'll know whether you can keep lifting and adding a little bit more, or you need to slow down a little bit. It's the same thing I told one of the earlier questioners. As you're improving your body as far as strength training, as far as speed training, as far as adding weight, adding muscle, you also got to be on the court conditioning your body to do the things you want it to do. It's not about just getting big muscles, right? You want to get big muscles, you want to get stronger. The only reason you want to get stronger is so you can perform better on the court. So as you're getting yourself stronger, you have to be on the court performing. That it means practicing and playing so that your body can grow into being conditioned to move with the changes that you're making to yourself physically. So you need to do a combination of both, and then you need to listen to your body. There's no person who can tell you, Ator, hey, you need to gain exactly 15 pounds. That's not how it works. You have to see how you feel once you add a pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds. As you keep adding weight, see how you feel. If you start to feel too heavy, then you know there are adjustments to be made. If you feel like you can add more, then there are adjustments you make there. So you really have to listen to your body. There is no one ideal size any player needs to be, because each one of us, and as our bodies are put together, is 100% unique. Zombie Ops 3 says, what is my biggest injury while playing ball? I haven't had any serious basketball injuries, knock on wood. Nathan Guajardo says, Dre, I have trouble looking up while dribbling. What can I do to fix this problem? Is there a video or hoop handbook to help him? Thanks. Keep up the good work. Nathan, the only thing you need to do to help you is get off the internet, turn up the Xbox, and go work on your fucking game. You can't dribble without looking at the ball, and that means you need to practice more dribbling without looking at the ball. You don't need to buy a hoop handbook. You don't need to watch a video. You don't need to read a blog post. You don't even need to watch this Q&A. You need to go work on your handle. That's basic ball handling. You don't need any tips, advice, training for that. You need to put in the work, which you have not done. Ball is May life, I said it. He says, do I like tall women or shorts? I wouldn't say I'm partial to either size. Next, Frankie Z100 says, you're right. I can't dunk. I do need to work on that part of my game. That's why I try to copy John Stockton's game. I'm only 5'5", but if Nate Robinson and Spud Webb can do it, then I can too. I will buy your jump video. All right, Frankie, good luck. We'll see what happens. Miguel Felix says, a couple months ago you did a video with Paul Hoover from Pro Shot Shooting System. That's correct, I did. That's in my collaboration / Q&A playlist. It says, do you practice the techniques he preaches and insist on doing to become a better shooter? No, not really. People asked me that when I first put out the video. I think he has great information. If I ever had a question about shooting, I could just go to his 150-page ebook he has, which is available at dreallday.com/PSSS. But I didn't take what I got from his Q&A and decide to retool my entire shot. Other people may choose to do that. I chose not to. That's just what I chose. Amar Brokman says, Dre, I have a problem. I have no courts around and my yard is mostly grass. I have a hoop, but it's only 7 feet tall. I shoot thousands of shots every day, but on real courts, my shooting percentage suffers. I need help. All right, so Amari, what exactly do you want me to do? You want me to build a basketball court in your backyard? What do you want me to do? You need help. You have a hoop that's 7 feet 5 inches and you shoot thousands of shots every day. That's a lie. If you're shooting thousands of shots every day, your shooting percentage will be pretty good, even when you play on a real court if you're practicing on a small court. If you're shooting thousands of shots, either that means you're practicing something that's completely not working when you get on the other court, you're shooting thousands of them, or you're inflating your numbers. I don't know if you think that's going to impress me, telling me how much you work. I don't really care about anybody telling me how hard they work. I base everything on what I see them doing on the court. You're telling me that you have a bad shooting percentage on the court, and you're telling me that you need help because there are no courts around you. I have no idea exactly what you expect me to do from that, so why don't you leave a comment in this video and tell me how I can help you. Raul Marmolejo says, I lost 40 pounds recently. When I play ball, I feel like I'm not as powerful anymore as I once was when I was heavier. Do I have a handbook to build him up and get him strong? If so, I need help, please. Okay. Position of Power, Strength Training, 10-week program written by my trainer Maria Solon-Scali. Go get it and do the work, and your answers right there in that program. Casey Murphy says, what do I like to eat post-workout? I like to eat a meal post-workout. Heavy on protein, Probably some carbs in there too, some good fats in there. But after a workout, I like to eat any kind of meals, no particular foods. Kevin Wanata says, Dre, I have trouble driving the lane. Can I give him tips on how to be confident to drive the lane? You have trouble driving the lane, so 2 things you need to do. Number 1, take a look at my Driving Moves playlist. I have 4 of them. Understand that playlists on YouTube have a maximum of 200 videos, which means between those 4 playlists, there's over 700 driving moves, drills in those playlists. So all you gotta do is check those playlists out, and then you need to play in games so that you can take the skills you develop through your work. You're by yourself practicing, working on your game, and you can apply them in the game instinctively without having to think about it. So those are the 2 things you need to do. If all those videos are a little bit overwhelming, you don't know where to begin, it's too much information, you don't know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, hoophandbook.com. You can check out the skill-based programs like scoring moves number 1, 2, 3, all the way up to number 9. Or you can check out the NBA signature workout program as far as driving to the basket. I don't know what your size is, Kevin, but we got every size. Point guards, you got Derrick Rose, Stephen Curry, Kyrie Irving, Iverson, Stephon Marbury, Steve Francis. 2 guards, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, James Harden. 3s, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Paul George, Paul Pierce. You got Joe Johnson as another wing. Power forwards, Tim Duncan, Blake Griffin, Amari Stoudemire, Chris Bosh. Center, Zach Randolph. We got Tim Duncan, you got Dwight Howard. We got everything you need. So all you got to do is do those 3 things I told you. Check out the playlist that I mentioned. Go play in some games to develop your instincts, and go to hoophandbook.com so you can get specific, detailed instruction on exactly what you need to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it, and why to do it. Next question. Tyler 11207 says, have I ever played golf? I played putt-putt golf. Now, as far as real golf, I've gone to the driving range. I haven't played an actual round of golf because that would take all day because I'm not good at golf. O Complex says, what do you think about unibrows, or should people cut them off or not? How can I get motivated to work out and practice on my game? I'm a procrastinator, keep in mind. What I think about unibrows, and should people cut them off or not? I don't see many unibrows. The only one I know is Anthony Davis, and I think he's going to keep his because it's a good branding move for him, and I think he likes it. I think that's the most important thing. And he says, how can I get motivated to work out and practice on my game because I'm a procrastinator? Well, O Complex, if you're not motivated to work out and practice on your game in basketball, then basketball is probably not for you. You should probably figure out what you don't need to be motivated to do and go do that. Not everybody's going to be a basketball player. Miles Mays, actually, I don't know. He said I'm the kid in orange. I don't know what he's talking about. Erdem Soyalan says, what's the best outdoor basketball? It doesn't matter. Just get the one you like, get on the court, and put in the work. D-Rod says, Jay-Z or Kanye? Jay-Z. Ian Sexton says, who do you think is the best on-ball defender and best post defender in the NBA? Ian, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that in a long time. I've had to really look through all the players in the league before I could really come to an educated answer to that. And I haven't really been thinking about who's in the league and who's out since it's been a long time since the season ended. Ask me again once the NBA season gets going, maybe a month or 2 from now, and I might have a better answer for you. Right now, I have none. Classic Kick says, do I wear running shoes, and if so, which ones are my favorite? I wear running shoes when I'm actually running. My favorite ones, actually 2 made by the Jordan brand, the Flight Flex Trainer, and the other one is called I don't even remember the name of the other one, but I posted video reviews on both. Actually, the Flight Flex Trainer video is coming out tomorrow, this Sunday, and the other one, I forget the name of it, that is already out. I think I put that out maybe a week or 2 ago. So those are my 2 favorite running shoes, both made by Jordan. NBA General says, do I think Mario Chalmers can be a franchise point guard for the Heat and start for the next 10 to 11 years? And also, how many points or assists do I think he'll average in 14-15? I think he can be the franchise point guard. I wouldn't call him the franchise point guard, but he is the point guard. I mean, he's starting. I guess that's good enough. Franchise point guard, I don't think every team has a franchise each position. Franchise is just like that #1 guy. The franchise guy for the Heat would be Dwayne Wade, and I guess you could also say Chris Bosh. They're the franchise guys. You can't have 3 or 4 franchise guys on the same team. It's usually 1 guy, maybe 2, and that's it. So Mario Chalmers is not the franchise guy, but he is the point guard for now, as far as I know. And do I think he could be the point guard for the next 10 to 11 years? Not that long. Mario Chalmers already been in the league like 6 years, so I don't think he's going to be the point guard for the next 10 years. I think for the next 5 maybe. Who knows? I never really gave that much thought. It's an interesting question that you asked about Mario Chalmers. How many points and assists do I think he'll average this year? Let's say 12 and 5. Gantix556. It says, what kind of student were you in high school? I already answered that. Rokas says, what I think about Lithuanian basketball, if anything. I don't think of Lithuanian basketball at all. I did play in Lithuania, but that was a long time ago, that was 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago. I haven't followed Lithuanian basketball since, so I don't want to make up anything just to answer your question. This guy, his name's Vince Carter. He says, whenever I drive, I always beat my first defender, but the second big man always stops me. I'm not that great at hitting floaters. How can I score with him in the wet? You can get better at hitting floaters. Silverio Aquino says, I'm 5'5" and 13 years old. I'm trying to develop my vertical. I have a 31-inch vertical. I don't have good genes. I made up for that to develop good athletic foundation. I can't purchase the jump manual. What drills or exercise do I recommend I should add to my workout plan at my age? And he puts add and age in all capital letters as if I wouldn't read them unless he did that. I have a pretty good foundation. I'm fit. I can run, etc. So what do I recommend? Well, Silverio, if you're really serious about adding to your vertical explosively and you want to do it the right way, you should probably check out the jump manual. You said you can't afford it. Well, you got a phone or a computer. That's the only way that you was able to leave a comment on this video. And you're obviously intelligent because you know how to write out a question, so you know how to read. You're 13 years old. Go get a job. Maybe you're too young to get a job. Go to the store, buy a case of bottled waters, sell them for $2 a piece. Then you take your profits, go buy another case, do the same thing. Just keep flipping it. Eventually you'll be able to buy the jump manual. It'll only take you a week if you're willing to do the work. Go start a dog walking business, go cut people's lawns, go offer old people who live by themselves to sit and listen to them talk for an hour or two a day and tell them to pay you for it. They'll do it because they need somebody to talk to. So there are plenty of ways you can make some money. I don't need to tell you every single way you can make some money. You're not a fool. You know how to read and write. Somehow got the internet connection and or a cell phone. You probably got a cell phone too. So there's some money somewhere around you. You just got to figure out ways to go get it if you really want to get your vertical up. You can also check out the vertical jump playlist on my channel, but I'm not a doctor, so if you add a bunch of exercises and it doesn't help you, don't say that I gave you bad information. I gave you the right information at the top of this answer. Breezy C4L says, do you need an agent to play professional basketball overseas? Not necessarily. But if you go to my website, go to the guides and tips page, I cover all of that in detail. Any question you got is already covered. Eric G says, my problem is that I don't have a variety of finishes when driving to the basket. I merely do jump stops or basic layups, and I realize Jeremy Lin has good finger roll floaters, and that's exactly what I want to do, but I need help. I'm practicing for a while, but I can't do finger rolls from long distance because of power. Is there any way I can gain power when I do finger roll? Well, Eric G, what exactly do you need help on? You already identified your problem, you already identified the solution, and you already know why you can't do it. So what exactly do you need help on? The only thing you need help on is to get off the internet, stop looking for 4-leaf clovers, stop telling people you need help and using help as an excuse. Stop using questions as an excuse and go work on your fucking game. You already know what you need to do. Go do it. What's stopping you from doing it? Me answering your question is not the key to your finger rolls. It's not the key to your power. Key to your power is for you to go and do the practice. You don't need to buy any equipment. You don't need to do any programs in order to get power in making a finger roll. The only reason you can't make a finger roll because you haven't practiced it enough. So get off the internet, get off this Q&A after you hear me answer your question and go put in the work, and then your problems will be solved. Justin Francois Paul says, Dre, I'm from NYC, and along with NYC, Philly, Chicago, the North has great basketball culture and style of play. How's basketball in Miami? Is it the same? No, basketball in Miami is not the same. It's not as big a culture as far as basketball goes. People play, of course, just like they play anywhere else. And the weather's nice, so people always play. But people are not as serious about basketball because there are a lot of other things to do when the weather is so nice. Whereas in Philly, New York, Chicago, around this time of year when the weather turns, you can't be outside. Whereas in Miami, it's like 85 degrees right now. You can do whatever you want. So I think that's the main reason why basketball is not as big in the southern part of the country where the weather is nice all the time. Incredible says, why do all the best basketball players lose their hair? Like Michael Jordan, LeBron, and Kobe, even Kevin Durant is starting to. It seems like a weird correlation. Well, Incredible, you named 4 people out of, first of all, 500 people in the NBA, and it's been like 50,000 players in the history, probably more than that. That's an underestimation. In the history of pro basketball, you named 4 people. I don't think they all lose their hair. Dr. J, for example, had an afro. Larry Bird had a full head of hair. He still does. So there are plenty. Allen Iverson had braids. So there are plenty of players who have a whole bunch of hair. Dwayne Wade got hair. Russell Westbrook got hair. Chris Paul has hair. Tony Parker has hair. So there are plenty of players who have hair. I think you need to think out that question a little bit more. Mo Arif says, any tips on how to make a shot after doing a crossover? Yes. Work on your fucking game. Work on your crossover and then shoot after it. And you keep doing it, you won't need any tips because you'll be making it. Last question. Young PR0 said, I just got out of high school, Dre. I don't plan on going to college because I didn't get any offers and I can't afford it. Or I can't afford it is what he said. He says, my ultimate dream is to get to the NBA. What do I do from here? Do I try out for leagues? Well, young PR0, you just got out of high school and you basically said you want to play professional basketball without playing in college. I'm going to give you a complete honest answer. I want to make sure all you listen to this. It is a 99.9% chance you are not good enough to go from playing in high school to playing in the pros. Pro basketball, whether we're talking about overseas or the NBA or the D-League or whatever else you're talking about, is not the LA Fitness, it's not the Rec, it's not the YMCA, it is not your pickup game. It is real basketball against real men who are getting paid to play. You ain't that good, you need to go to college. So you need to go put in some scholarship applications, put in some loan applications, go get yourself a job and go to school so you can develop your game for the next 4 years. Also develop yourself as a person so that you got something else to do with your life when basketball's over, because you still don't have half your life to live when it's done. Even if you were to, let's say you make the NBA by age 22 and you play for 20 years, you still got another 40 years to live after that. So you're gonna need something to do on top of that. You ain't gonna be able to just sit back and count your millions of dollars. And that's saying if you make it to the NBA. But you probably need to develop your game a little bit more. If you out of high school and no pro team offered you a deal, there's a reason why, because you need to get better. So that's it, everybody. Thank you for the questions this week. If you have a question or a comment, you can leave it in the comments to this video. I'll reply to it next week in the Q&A. The questions here have been good. I like the fact that y'all have been coming with some good thought-provoking questions. I can tell a lot of you think out the stuff that you're asking me, and I appreciate that. Let's keep it that way, because if people start asking me dumbass questions, then we're gonna have to end the Q&A. That's it, that's all. Work on your fucking game. DreAllDay.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you check back next week for another Q&A video where I take your questions. All my most popular videos are up here. Follow me on your favorite social networks over here, and make sure you are subscribed to catch all my new content coming out every day on this channel. Work on your game.